Insights of All Trades podcast.
So growing up, I never imagined I would have joined the military, like just let alone the Marine Corps. It was never a thought. I just figured I'd go off to college after high school because that's what everyone was doing, and that was my original plan. And I did go to college right after high school. I went to Hack in Harrisburg for one semester, and I despised it. I truly hated it so much that after the first semester, I dropped out, and I figured, well, I have it pretty set off at home, just working for my dad. So I worked for my dad for a year, and everything was great. Like I was making good money, I was living at home, saving my money up, but the feeling eventually came where I needed something more in my life, something to like, what am I going to be remembered for when I die? Just someone who eventually took over his father's business, which is fine and all, but I just kind of wanted something more in my name. So military, Marine Corps. So I decided to do that. I joined up, and I left almost immediately as soon as I went into the recruiter. I left almost right away, and I went to basic training May 29th. I showed up May 29th in South Carolina at Parris Island, 2018 of last year. So, and I went, and that was 3 months. 3 months of hell. That was the notorious Marine boot camp, and truly, it lives up to it. Um, what can I say about boot camp? It was tough. Luckily, I'm past all of the rough stuff of the Marine Corps. I'm currently stationed in 29 Palms in California, and right now, pretty much all I do is a 8 to 12 hour day job, like Monday through Fridays. I get the weekends off, and I can enjoy myself then. So I did all the rough. Don't get me wrong. There's still some really tough situations, tough things we have to do, but until I get deployed, I'm just doing my job. So that's where I'm at now. So
Nice. What was boot camp like, man?
boot camp was it actually surprisingly went fast. Like no joke, it went like without any electronics, not just straight up, just training for 3 months straight. It went really fast, but it is such a culture shock. Like no matter who you are, no matter how you grew up, it is a culture shock to everybody who goes. And I was fortunate enough to have a pretty easy. I did not find it difficult whatsoever to adapt into that lifestyle. It like within the first week, I was like, okay, I'm gonna push through this. It's tough, but this is something I can get used to. And it was and it's so weird because if you show videos of boot camp to a regular civilian who has no idea what military is like, they'd be like, "That's insane. That's awful," because like the drill instructors, oh man, some of the things the drill instructors would say to you, you would get arrested for in civil, like saying that to a random person in the civilian world. But it's strange though, because like the drill instructors, like you would think you'd hate them. You would think the recruits would hate them a lot. And don't get me wrong, I did. Like, and everyone did at the beginning. Like they're like dicks. But that's their job, and they're damn good at it because they're trained to be really really good at it. And but the thing is the first person I wanted to see after I graduated boot camp was my lead drill instructor. It's so weird. You build this bond with your drill instructor just from them screaming in your face every day. It's an odd thing. Like you just wouldn't think about it, but there's this small bond that forms between you because him yelling at you and training you every day is bettering you. Because there's four phases now actually. The first phase is just destroying you as a person and everything you were before to be nothing. Like you're in the most depressed state of your life, and you're just you want to die, legitimately want to die. And after they've done that, they start to build you back up in the second and third phase, and you are considered a Marine after you do what's called the Crucible, which is 4 days of complete hell. It's just pushing you to your limit to where you're like mentally pushing through it and physically, but like your body just breaks down so much you just can't take that next step, but like you just have to find it in you to keep going. And once you finish so you do the 3 days of the Crucible, which is just hiking and all these like small missions they set up for you to just break you down and to put you the environment of what war would be like, of just like gunfire. Like one example was the Battle of Fallujah we did, and it's crawling through the sand in full gear for, no kidding, probably 100 yards, and you have three other Marines with you, well, recruits at the time, and you're carrying, there's a 40-pound ammo can one of you has to drag along with you, and then there's like an 85 ammo can that two of you try to drag, and you take breaks, and you have to get through it in a certain time, and in the meantime, they have the sound effects of just gunfires, things exploding all around you, and screaming, everyone's screaming, and it's pretty intense stuff, but it's just something you have to do and just get through to get to that final step.
So
really.
do you know where that name Fallujah comes from? What that means?
A Battle of Fallujah was a real thing.
Okay.
It was a big mission where we had to get in real life way back. When was it? It was World War II, or I'm probably gonna get. I hope no other Marines see this, because I should know this. And in boot camp I did know it, but it's been so long since boot camp that it was a pretty big miracle when we had to get ammunition too. That's where the ammo crates come from, dragging the ammo crates, because there was a group of Marines pinned down somewhere, and they ran out of ammo, so they had to call in more reinforcements to bring ammo to them, and they did, just by a miracle, with gunfire everywhere. So that's so they made that based off of the actual event. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
What kind of stuff did you do? Anything to prepare for boot camp, or did you just kind of go in blind, not knowing what's gonna happen?
So before boot camp, I weighed like 215, 220, and to leave for boot camp, I had to cut down to what was it, 195. I had to leave for boot camp, so I did that within 2 months. So going down to boot camp, I was a lot lighter, and I felt a lot weaker because I had to lose all that weight, and I just felt like garbage. But at the end of boot camp, I went from 195 to 170. I graduated, and I weighed myself, I was 170. Like, you lose a ridiculous amount of weight there. And I had to change my whole training regimen. Like, beforehand, I was really into, like, the powerlifting and all of that. So I had to switch from that, and I hated running. I despised running, but I had to adapt into that mindset, because all we do at boot camp is running and body weight stuff. Like, that's the whole, like, combat fitness type stuff going on. And so adapting to that, it wasn't the roughest. Like, don't get me wrong, other people had to have had a more difficult time than me, just because I've just been working out for a long time, so I didn't have as much trouble as others did adapting into it. So that's honestly all I had to do to prepare for it. And there's no real way to adapt to it mentally. Like, you just have to go. You have to do it, and that's it, really.